and thank you for listening to Gettin' Hard in Nate's Backyard. On episode 31, I do a Swapcast with my buddy Steve Vargas. Steve's podcast is called Take Her Wide. I highly recommend you check it out. He's up to episode 101, and this is 31, obviously, of Gettin' Hard in Nate's Backyard. As always, check out our sponsors, BIIPIIGWAN.com for all your sound needs, and RightHookMics.com for all your microphone needs. I want to thank Steve for our swapping cast with me, and as always, thanks for listening.
Hey, welcome back to Take Her Wide, everybody. This is the 101st episode. These episodes are brought to you by DaveLevittPhotography.ca, the homie who does the hosting of these and the music videos for friends and a bunch of other rad shit. DaveLevittPhotography.ca, also brought to you by Right Hook Mics. That's a mic I'm using right now, which you can hear and you can probably see.
Nice.
And lastly, RadDude.ca is the merch essentials for bands who, don't want to break the bank on pressing CDs. They do really tight CDRs, really good artwork. Not artwork, I shouldn't say, but the quality of what they're pressing and printing is really good. So hit up raddude.ca. This week, I have a friend coming in from out west who actually runs his own podcast, and this is a Swapcast, I guess we'll call it, where if you're listening, you'll hear this, and then if you go to Nate's, you'll hear his. But yeah, Nate Reno coming in, or how do you say it, Reno or Reno?
Reno, but we're in Western Canada, so I say Reno.
Reno, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Fucking Nate Reno. Yeah, Nate's sound man, CEO, I guess, of the Metal Fest.
Big Nate Production.
Big Nate Productions, shreds in, how do you say, Kayoctus?
Kayoctus, you nailed it, wow.
Kayoctus, and a dad, and a good dude, and I don't know, you got a list. Oh, also podcast host of Gettin' Hard in Nate's Backyard, so.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
thanks
welcome
for having me on, man.
Dude, thanks for having me on. Welcome to Take Her Wide.
Yeah, well, welcome to Gettin' Hard in Nate's Backyard, too.
I always do a beer before every episode. Well, I don't every episode, but I try to. This week I have a Cause and Effect, Nickelbrook Brewing from Burlington. You see it there?
Nice. Looks good.
I've never had one, so here we go. But how you been, man? Shit, I'm bummed out.
I'm drinking Kokanee, by the way.
Oh, Kokanee, sweet.
That's pretty much what I drink every time.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, I'm good, man. It's been a wild last couple weeks. Metal Fest just happened. It was June 3rd through 7th.
Yeah, and I missed out on you, man.
I've been recording some comedians. I recorded Jason Rouse. We're frozen. Are you frozen?
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
So you're doing recording comedians?
Yeah, I've been. I started with my buddy Jason Rouse. He's from the Hamilton area. He co-hosted Metal Fest 2, or he was the MC, I should say. And that's where I kind of met him. He's like a super crude comedian. And then through that, the same weekend as Metal Fest, I got Sam Tripoli got a hold of me to record his sets at Yuck Yucks.
Oh, so shit. Okay, I was wondering how that came to be, because, yeah, he was on your podcast, and it was like, I wonder if I'd assumed that you were like, hey, man, you want to come on my podcast? But he actually got a hold of you. Well,
there's a comedy promoter here in town named Romeo. He has a, if you look up Romeo Presents on Facebook, he works out of that, and he just kind of gets a hold of all these guys when they come through town, and I met him through Rouse and stuff, so anytime he has he just got a hold of me. He's like, man, Sam's coming to town. I was like, well, this is a horrible weekend, but we could make that happen. So we did end up, I ended up recording like 5 of his sets, and then now we're going to go through and edit them and do like a special for him.
Holy shit, so like he's going to use the audio you did for his next special?
Yeah, we're going to kind of pick and choose all the best stuff out of the 5 sets. And
I wonder if, like, does he have a good following in Calgary? Like, why he chose Calgary to film it? Like, did he film it, or is it just going to be audio?
I'm pretty sure it's just audio. Like, he's going to put out a CD, I should say, not a special, but...
He's going to put out a cassette?
Yeah, we'll get him on vinyl. But Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Yeah, he's in China right now, actually doing a bunch of weird stand-up in China. There's some kind of weird American stand-up thing happening in China. They want it real bad, so Ari Shaffir's been out there, and like I think Tom Rhodes and a bunch of guys like that. So
yeah, that's crazy, man. You're a dude who you just are always so like always busy, like so much so that when we were in Calgary, I was bummed out. I didn't get to see you. Like I stayed at your place, but we didn't get to hang.
That's right. That's such a tragedy, man. That's horrible.
It was not weird, but it was just kind of like, oh shit. I more felt guilty because it was you're helping us out, and you know I didn't even get to give you a hug to say thank you. But
well, no, it's all good. We'll see each other again. I always like to do that when I can. You know, Luke Hart was in town the other night. I just posted the podcast to him today.
Oh shit, sweet.
Yeah, he was just coming through on Luke Hart of Agonal and Planet Eater fame, and just the craziest person in Regina. So that he was just coming through town with he was with his girlfriend. They were going to some like family reunion stuff. So it was awesome to be able to catch him and get him in the bus here.
Okay, yeah. We'll get people up to speed with your podcast called Gettin Hard in Nate's Backyard.
Yeah.
And you do it in a bus. Like I've seen pictures, and what is it? Like it's a studio bus that you can drive around, or is it people have to come to your place, or what is it?
Well, it does run, and you could technically drive it around. I let the plates expire on it, so I don't. But it's a 7-foot by 10-foot old band bus. Like it's in total length, I think it's like 20 feet long, maybe 24. And it's short, like I can't stand up in it.
Well, you're also like 12 feet tall, so.
Well, 6'6", but yeah. Actually, Luke comments, he's like, I feel so awesome that I can't stand up in this bus. Usually that's not the case. But yeah, it was owned by like 4 bands in the past. I bought it off of a local band that's no longer called Ostestima. Do you remember them?
No, what was it?
Ostestima, they were like real hip in like 06, 07 grind band.
No. Who else owned it? I know a few bands out that way.
Yeah. Well, when they disbanded, Todd moved out to the island and he needed to get rid of it. So he was like, give me $1. And all I had was a toonie and he wouldn't accept it. So I got this bus for nothing. And then it sat in my backyard and did nothing for a long time. And then I got it all like legal and road ready for the band, Kayaktas. We were using it for in-town gigs, but this thing has like a 100-liter tank, and it costs like $50 to do a local gig in gas by the time you drive across town 4 times and stuff. So I just decided to park it, and then I don't know. It kind of it started as like my man cave, and then I'd always like somewhere to smoke that's not around a baby.
Yeah.
Not that I ever did, but and then I'd been talking about doing the podcast for like 2 years, and then it was just like, okay, enough talking, let's do this. So this is
fucking sweet. This
will be number 31 of Gettin Hard.
That's awesome, man. And you had a hard time with iTunes giving you not shit, but they wouldn't upload it or something, right?
Yeah, I think because they gave me a list of 10 like super ambiguous things for why my podcast was rejected. So I tried, it said stuff, like the one line that was throwing me off is it said, if you're any profanity, sexism, racism, or self-censorship. So I thought that they were interpreting Getting Hard in Nate's Backyard as like self-censorship, which I don't
even know what that means.
I don't even really know what that means either. I think that means they can just reject anything for any reason if they don't like it.
That's the last fucking clause. Hey, dude, actually, Nate, can I gotta press pause for a sec.
Cool.
Do you have headphones? Because I'm actually picking up myself through you.
Are you? Okay. I can turn down.
Hey.
Is that okay there? Okay. Actually, I'll try and move the iPad here too, so it's not right by the
Weird. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I had a feeling that would happen.
That's the last fucking clause. Hey, dude, actually, Nate, can I gotta press pause for a sec.
Okay.
Awesome. Sorry, we just had to make a quick little adjustment there. But yeah, so as it's exciting, man. Like it seems like this. I hate talking about podcasts on podcasts because I feel like that's kind of alienating to people who might not have podcasts. But it's exciting because like a bunch of my buddies are starting podcasts, and I don't know. It's a cool little platform for people to have a intimate conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why I started it. I feel like that stuff is really missing just normal conversation, you know, like we are so compartmentalized on the Facebooks and the Twitters that we think we're connected, but we're not actually having any conversations. And I feel guys like us, like to what you just said, I think they're just starting to get hip in Canada, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a million of them coming out of LA or whatever, but I don't think people, like I can see people are like just starting to get hip to it because they're sick of commercials, right? Like,
yeah,
I think people would rather hear some commercials at the beginning and then have an hour or however long of conversation than to sit there and be programmed, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like it's a lost art. My one buddy's ex-girlfriend put it really well, kind of in a world of short bursts of interactions, like a like and a tweet.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like people are hungry for these conversations, and I wish I could do podcasts at 4 a.m. every time driving home from a gig, because those are always the best conversations.
Yeah, right. Totally.
You know what I mean? When your fucking guard's down a little bit.
Yeah, we always say that, like when I'm, you know, say hanging out with a potential guest or something, it's like you'll either hear like, oh, save that for the podcast, or like this should be on the podcast, and it's like you can't put lightning in a bottle.
No, you can't, man. But yeah, you're so fucking busy, dude. You do the podcast and you do the band and you do this. Now, I want to pick your brain about Metal Fest, and because so honest to God, and it's not because I'm talking to you right now. Your fest was the best fest, the most organized fest I've ever done. I haven't done a million, but I've done enough that yours stands out as leaps and bounds ahead of most quote unquote festivals. It was organized, things were on time, and more so, even like you had stage techs to help move gear, and it was fucking bang on. So something like that, and the scale that you've done it, it's like, how many years now? 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, we just did the fourth one.
I guess a couple questions about it. First and foremost, like why did you even start to do it? How do you get inspired to, I'm going to do a metal fest?
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say part of the reason, and I have to give credit to Therese Fleming because she used to put on Noctis. And I sent her a message way back in 2008 saying, I heard you had some problems. I think I could help with the technical end of it. What do you think? And she totally responded. She didn't have to at all. And she brought me down. I said, you know, here's how I want to do it, A, B, C. She's like, let's go with A. So I was the stage manager and production manager for Noctis from...
Let's let people know what Noctis is. Explain Noctis.
Noctis Valkyries was it ended up being just Noctis. They did 6. I think there was 8 total Noctis-related shows, and Therese would fly out like crazy bands that have never been here, like Venom and Sodom and like Destroyer 666, Wacken, like all these bands that tour a ton in Europe, but would never even really think to come to Alberta. So
yeah, it's pretty isolated, you know, that part of Canada.
Yeah, it's there's no coast. It's like in the middle of everything. It's not as isolated as Saskatchewan, but close.
I had always heard, Noctis was sort of like the South by North by of the West, where you had panels and you had bands and
yeah, that was a big thing. Because I was always doing the production stuff, it drove me nuts that I couldn't go to the conference stuff, because she had this great conference too. You know, she had like Sam Dunn there, who did all the like Metal of Headbangers Journey and Flight 666 and all that. There's so many more crazy speakers she had. Like lots of the times the speakers were, you know, just as nuts as all the bands. So, so you got a hold of her, and then you hopped on with her. Yeah, and that went from like 2008 till her last show was in 2013. And then, so to answer your question, the reason Metal Fest started was because it was my birthday, and I wanted to do something kind of ridiculous for my birthday, and I just bounced it off a few friends, and it seemed to, I wanted an excuse. What I've been trying to do with Calgary Metal Fest is do it the same weekend every year, so that hopefully by Metal Fest 400, bands get hip to the fact that it happens every year. And if you're touring, you'll probably get on. You know, and that really happened at year 2. Skeleton Witch happened to be on tour, and they hopped on the festival, and it was crazy in Dickens, man. It was sold out. It was nuts. And then last year, not this just past one, but 2014, I got Abigail Williams. They were coming through on tour, black metal band from Chicago, and Panzerfaust, black metal band from Toronto. They jumped on as the headliners last year. Yeah, so I'm trying to make it like the whole idea at Metal Fest 1, which was the most fun, was to just get every band I knew through touring, through Big James, through, you know, whoever, to come just play, an excuse to come play a big festival. Like, it's my birthday, come play. It ended up being like a guilt chip, you know, where I could be like, come on, man, it's my birthday.
No, we're friends, man, come on.
Yeah, totally. Come play my birthday party.
So I guess it was it went well enough that you're like, fuck, I could do this again next year, I guess, right? Or
yeah, well, totally. And then in the planning stages at Metal Fest 2, like I say, I scored Skeleton Witch. I mean, it was actually just lucky as hell that I was able to cut a deal with them. And there was actually 2 packages that jumped on that show. I got Intronaut and Scale the Summit, and
fuck,
yeah, that whole package as well, which was pretty intense. So that was a crazy one. But now it's getting to a point where it's kind of tough. It's like, do I keep it as this fun, happy-go-lucky thing, or do I go, crazy and try and get some serious investors with some serious money and get serious,
Well, how long does it take to plan, man? Because like when we stayed at your place, your wife was talking about, it's a pretty big ordeal, It's such an investment of time and money, and the one I did was great, and a dude like you to do it, I think you're a rare sort of gem to want to do it, man. I wouldn't want to do it. That sounds like too much work.
Well, I mean, I tried doing the day job thing and do this stuff, and it's impossible. Like, I can't. I love music stuff, and like I mix at Dickens, I mix at Distortion and stuff, and I can't like do that and then go to work during the day. It's just impossible. So I have to put my hands in many baskets. It's forced me to become a promoter. It sucks, but for me, it's like I like helping friends if I can that are coming through town and need a gig,
Yeah.
So
that's
like
huge.
I have to diversify within the realm of music to stay in it at all. Like I didn't make any money at Metal Fest this year, and it does take it takes all year. But you know what I did do is I raised $2,200 for Make-A-Wish Southern Alberta. So
that's cool, man.
We did this auction. My buddy Ross Ingle. Where are you again?
Where am I?
Yeah,
I'm in Cambridge. It's near Toronto. It's
Cambridge. Yeah,
near Guelph, Kitchener.
Yeah, he lives in Dundas.
Okay, that's right outside of Hamilton.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, he's.
I think
we call him Reverend Rock. He's a reverend that doesn't have a church because he's like. And he has a show on Metal Nation Radio called Too Metal for Church. And he doesn't go on there and pontificate. He just talks about music and stuff. And he's a cool dude. Like he's if I did ever go to a church, it would definitely be his because every church going, or I shouldn't say, every church business dick hates him. Because it's like real. So anyways, he donated a double neck Schecter guitar for this auction that we did right before the headliners, Cobra and the Lotus, this year. And I was able to get $1,200 for that guitar. It was so funny, man. I wish you would have been there because I'm like, it's for the kids. And then I'd be like, there's a kid dying right now in a hospital somewhere. Like I was guilting the crowd so bad. You could hear him groaning so hard. But that got another couple $100 for sure. So
hey, man, that's cool.
And then Monica, right, from Deviant Optics, photographer chick.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah,
yeah, she's like a pole fitness junkie and all this stuff too. She did this rad print on aluminum of a photo she took of Kronos from Venom at Noctis.
Cool.
And it was huge. Like, I don't know, it was like 30 by 24 or something like that. And that went for like $250. And then there's a bunch of like the other festivals threw some tickets in, like Loud as Hell and Armstrong. They threw a pair of tickets in, and we got a couple $100 for each one of those. So it's that was like my payment. That was seriously like when we hit $1,200 on that guitar, which is like the retail on it. I was like, that's perfect. Like,
yeah.
I wanted to make sure we got at least $1,000 for that guitar, and like to go just do the big check and take the cheesy picture and go there. And
I think I saw that. Yeah,
that really does make it worth it. But with that being said, you asked how long it takes to plan. It basically, this year I started the next day. No kidding.
Ugh.
I think that was my part of the reason. There's just never enough time. There's just never ever enough time to plan something like this. And
so you're always learning, man. I'm sure. Like you probably learned some stuff from Noctis, but this is probably always something to learn.
Well, for sure, because I was just in Noctis. I was just doing like the tech stuff, the stage stuff. I didn't have anything to do with contracts or agents or booking or flights or any of that. Like I would just watch my boss lose her mind over that stuff.
Do you have like so at this point, it's kind of, I feel like it's a staple, I guess, out west, this metal fest, like sort of Sled Island or I don't know what else is out that way, but do you have people hounding you like, dude, like I just picture young bands like, come on, man, let us play the fest, man. We'll bring 100 people, man. Like, is it at that point where people are hounding you?
Yeah, the problem is they do it the day before the festival. Like that is the most annoying thing. To have
sure, man, you can
like
play in the parking lot.
To have bands the week before going, hey man, you got to check out my band, get us on your festival. It's like, man, where were you in January?
So how do bands get on? How does that work?
Well,
like I know, like
made it like mysterious so that there is no official. I don't really put out a call to the bands and stuff. Just
okay, cool.
So I can kind of sort of control it. Like it's either that or I pull what Sled Island does and make everybody pay $10 to throw your hat in.
That shit sucks, man. That shit fucking sucks.
I know. Like I'm totally against all that stuff. I'm totally like, and I mean, the local bands, when they play the festival, and I know this isn't popular, but it's the only way I can do it. I print them tickets, to the tune of $100, $200, and I'm like, sell these and keep all the money. Like, don't give me any back.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I know people don't like to sell tickets, but at the same time, it's like,
well, if they're keeping the money, that's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty good incentive. Like, you'll make money if you sell these. Yeah,
and the idea is that it, ripples, and the day of the show, their 10 friends, or of the 10 friends, are like, what are you doing tonight? And it's like, going to Metal Fest. Oh, now I nail you at the door.
Yeah.
Oh, don't have a ticket, huh? Well, it's $5 more.
No, it just fucking ran so well. Any fest, I generally kind of like, I'm hesitant just because they're usually not run great. Bands are running late, and there's nowhere to store shit, and it's just kind of a clusterfuck. But it was so organized, man. I still have the tape on my cymbal case from.
That's the third or fourth time I've heard that in the last couple of weeks. Actually, Luke said the same thing.
It's great because I almost want to do it to every single piece of my gear just so I know, in a pile of gear, I know which one it is.
Yeah, Luke said that because that was the last Agonal show ever.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, and he said that was the most fun he's ever had at a show in his life. I was like, wow. And then he explained why, and it was pretty crazy, actually.
So, and then, like, just you keep busy with that, and you're a fucking dad, and you do the band stuff. Like, how do you manage your time, man? I'm a guy who's always curious as to how people do it, because I'm new to the dad game, and I try to be busy, but whenever I'm sitting, just kind of like, I need to do this, 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 but nothing's getting done. it sucks. Like, do you have a method? How do you keep busy but still productive?
Every single person I deal with, basically in business, I make them start a Gmail with me, and then I make them put everything that's important on the calendar. And I have like 20 Gmail calendars synced to my phone. So it kind of it almost screwed me yesterday because there was a bunch of holidays there and there was a gig in there that I missed, and then good thing my boss texted me going, "You're showing up early, right?" Yeah, I'm on my way. But that's the way it's, and I'm totally not a guy like this except for business stuff. Like, people ask me like, "What are you doing next week?" I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing till that day, like till that minute, except for, you know, the stuff that I pay my bills with. That has to be months in advance. And that way, you know, even with the band and everything, like we have a calendar. So if people ask me if we can play, I can go check right away. And you can really forecast like months down the road. And Nancy, who helps me out a lot with the festival, like we'll even put like deadlines in the calendar that say like, you know, this needs to be figured out by then, whatever.
Wow, man.
So
I feel so
that's
behind the curve.
one way I do it. The other is just like, I mean, the other is my wife. Like, she's super supportive, and
she is a fucking good woman, dude.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
she fed us some dope chili.
Oh, did you have the white chili?
We had like, it was like chickpeas, and it was like real fucking healthy. I don't even know if it was chili or a stew, but it was fucking awesome.
But it had chicken in it. It wasn't red, right?
No, it wasn't red.
Yeah, see, that's the white chili. That's my cousin's recipe. That's so good. That stuff's the best. But yeah, pancakes.
Is there a fucking ice cream truck like going by or something?
Yeah, there's an ice cream truck going by.
Literally?
Yeah. It's like 8:00 out here. It's not dark yet.
I guess.
The creeps.
But no, yeah. Your wife, man. Yeah, she fed us well.
Yeah, no, and she's really into raising our daughter, and she's very she wants to see me be successful. So
she's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, she sees what I'm doing, and she tries to get hip to my schedule, and like it changes a lot, so that can be a challenge. But you know, then we can work with everything. Like I have daddy day with her and whatever, and I'll watch her, you know, when she needs to do other stuff, and
yeah,
it just seems to work out some way. I mean, it was like I tried 2 or 3 times to go back to work, and for the amount of money and the time I'm away from my family doing something that's like horrible,
yeah,
it just becomes not worth it. It's like, would I rather make half the money or maybe 2/3 of the money and be happy and be, you know, helping my family, or am I going to work this job because I need to go out and work a real job?
Yeah, dude, I'm like exactly same boat as you. Exact. Like, I'm working a lot, but I'm miserable. And it's just because my wife's on mat leave, so it's just for a period of time. But once she goes back to work, man, fuck working so much, man. There's so, like, yeah, I'll take a pay cut to spend more time with my family. That shit's, like, I'm always, like, I don't know if you're the same, but you're super busy and I'm busy. But I worry that I'll miss key moments in, you know, my kid's life because I might be on tour or, you know, I don't know, doing whatever I do that's outside of the family. Do you feel the same way, or like how do you think about this stuff?
Well, yes. I mean, I worry. I don't know if I would say worry. I mean, stuff's going to happen that you're going to miss no matter what. That's just kind of how I feel about it. I don't get to tour as much as you. The last tour we did was pretty tough because Dahlia was only like 6 months old or something like that.
Wow.
But I mean, even still, I felt like I had to go do this stuff. Like, missing key things. I fortunately haven't missed much. Like, I was there for the first words and the first steps and stuff like that. I just, being busy sucks just because I don't get to spend time with her. I mean, this is kind of the way I look at it, is that spending time when they're like this cute at this time at this age. Like, it could be anywhere. Like, even at 5, I would feel the same way.
Yeah, yeah. But there is, at least for me, there's some comfort in he's so small, and maybe he won't remember that I was gone for 3 weeks, like a month ago.
Oh yeah, no. See,
You know?
I'm just getting on to the remembering thing because I know she remembers now because I remember when I was 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
So now I know, like, I don't swear around her, and I don't, stuff like that. And so, yeah, it is kind of new territory. But I don't know. I just explained to her, like, Daddy's got to go to work, and that's how it is. I'll see you in the morning, kind of thing. And
yeah. But it's I definitely want to be aware of. Obviously, money stresses me out and shit like that. But there's things when I'm dead that are going to be really important. Like, oh, was I there for him and my wife? You know what I mean?
In that respect, I agree with you 100% because you can't take money with you.
No, you can't. You know what I mean? And
if there's anything we can take with us, it might be memories.
Yeah, hopefully. Fuck, man.
So
I was just talking. What's that?
I was just going to say that I think memories are more important and worth more money than money.
For sure, man. For sure. We were. I was talking in the last episode. I was talking to my buddy Dale, and we were talking about the Ken Mode album. The new one's called Success, and kind of how people analyze success. And just one thing that he said that really stuck to me is, there's people who are fucking super rich and have all the money in the world, and they want to kill themselves every day. That's got to be fact. That has to be fact, man.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, money. I try not to get stressed out, but it stresses me out. But really, it's things are okay, man. Like, my bands are doing, well, as far as I'm not dropping thousands of dollars into my bands, and I'm paying the bills at home, so it's okay. But
what? You're not gonna, if you go work some job, you're not gonna become a millionaire. There's zero potential for that. Mm-hmm. But if you go out and put your nuts on the chopping block and then drive a stake through them, like we are, then there is a chance that, hey, fuck, some car company got a hold of us. I mean, how shitty would that be? Everybody's like, you're a sellout. Yeah, well, I'm in a mansion now, bitch, so fuck you.
Yeah.
What's your band doing?
As I get older, I hate less and less on, like, successful bands who are making money, because I don't know them. My wife gives me perspective on, like, I'll shit on all this pop artist shit, or bands who might be considered sellouts, but she just says, you don't know these people. Maybe they actually enjoy playing that. Let's say like a Katy Perry or something, and I can only assume, I don't know her, and I feel like I'm pretty right probably in most pop cases, but sometimes maybe, man, these pop artists and these popular artists like what they're doing, and they're also getting paid, and they're paying for their kid to get, a new bike or something. Like, how can you really hate on that? Like, if it's non-selfish, if it's for other people, if their success is helping other people, then that's great. The other people could be their kids, or other people could be their friend who's down and out. I don't fucking know. And again, it goes back to the end, like, who fucking cares, man? It's all trivial. It's all gonna mean nothing at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know Chad Kroeger, and I don't particularly like his music, but I would fucking drink with him.
Yeah, like, what, am I gonna hate him? Like, oh, you make shitty songs. Like, well, that's great. Who the fuck are you? I don't care.
Yeah, and by the way, you also did not bang Avril Lavigne for like 5 years.
Yeah. Are they still together, those two?
I think Chavril broke up. I'm pretty sure.
Chavril?
Yeah. Ryan Boyko, my drummer, he's my TMZ.
Jesus.
He keeps me up to date on all that stuff. I'd have to ask him.
I don't have fucking time for even TV, man. I don't have time, man. I barely have time to do anything. I spread myself too thin, but it's a good thing. I like keeping busy. I couldn't imagine just not.
Excuse me.
And you're the same way, man. Jesus Christ, the dad podcast, all the shit you do, man.
Well, and I do records too. I do a lot of studio work.
Yeah, what's the studio you work in?
Well, I do all my mixing here in the bus, Get Hard Studios.
Oh shit, in the bus, that's cool.
Yeah, I got a little just cheese ball set up, but it works awesome, and it's right outside my door, so that's great. That helps with that too, like, if I can be like, hey wife, can you watch the kid for 2 hours while I go do a mix down? No problem. Okay. And then my commute is 4 seconds. Like that helps a lot. But I do the main tracking out of a studio in Northeast Calgary here called Electric Park.
Okay.
It's nothing crazy, but he has a super awesome Pro Tools rig, and we're getting some killer sounds out of there. This year I did, I did Violent Signia, I did Soundscraper, I just did the Statue of Demure record. Last year I did the Kaioctus and Stab Twist Pull records, and I know there's a bunch I'm missing. I've done a bunch of mixing stuff too, and I love the studio. That's where I really started in 2004. I started working at a studio here in town, and basically volunteering, kind of, and started really from the ground up. And I started working for a cheesy corporate cover band too, like pushing gear and hooking up PAs and stuff.
Yeah, well, they pay you though, right? So whatever.
What's that? Sorry.
It's a gig, you get paid, so.
Yeah, again, it's all if it's part of the music business, I want to do it. And not deal weed. I'm like the only guy.
Fuck, man, yeah. It's probably a good call. You don't want to be getting busted and having to deal with that shit when you have a wife and kid at home.
Well, I just don't want anybody to be able to hold that over my head either.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, well, you're just some dope dealer, which is hilariously prevalent in the fucking music business still. Super.
You know what? I want to just get your opinion, since you're a recording guy. In metal, and so in metal there's a lot of sound replacing, and I understand why, but what do you think about that? Do you think more bands in the metal world could benefit from like sound replacing, or do you think that's kind of a cheap trick to make someone sound better when they're not?
Well, I think it's both. It depends what the band's going for. I always go off of what's the band going for. Because some bands, they want that polish. Like, we want a Hollywood record for $3,000, Nate. Yeah, okay, well, let's go for it. Some bands are like, we don't want to use a click. We don't, we want it raw. We want it just the mics, no replace. Fine, no problem. Whatever you want to do. I mean, I do it on. I mean, I take the sample and I put it depending on what the band's going for. I'll take the sample and then I'll try to mix my mics to that sample.
Okay.
And then present them with a mix and then say, okay, this is no replacement. Now here's replacement. And see, replacement's a funny thing because there's lots of parameters within replacement where you can make it sound it'll go off of the waveform and replace it exactly as the guy's hitting it, like the velocities.
Okay.
Or you can just turn that off and it's brrr, and you get your typewriter like
yeah. Total perfect, yeah.
Yeah, well, and that guy is not hitting that hard every single time. Like, that's truly where I do think it's cheating. Now, I try to what ends up happening in the end in my world is like a mix of both. I'll do the dynamics at like 70%, so it's kind of fudging what the guy's playing a little bit, but it just makes it sound a little beefier, and then I'll mix that in like, until it gets annoying, until I'm like, okay, that's annoying.
That's too much.
It's obvious.
It's hard to argue against it because it does, like, let's say like a band that's blasting, like, some death metal shit.
Exactly.
It'll make it sound more gnarly if it's replaced, and it's just when, for me, my only issue is like, okay, if you're gonna recreate that live, and if you don't have the proper gear, it's gonna be like lackluster. It's gonna be like, oh shit, that was like a magic trick.
Yeah,
but in the studio, I get it.
Yeah, I think what people, like, if you look at the metal bands that are out today, as opposed to the metal bands that were out before you could replace anything, like, they're not the same bands. Like,
yeah,
if you're talking like NWO, BHM or whatever, this is like rock and roll. It's not 220 BPM, 30-second note kicks, right?
Dude, I was thinking about I just listened to Slayer, Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
And just thinking about the sound of that album. Fuck, I think it was Shawnee telling me a story that previous to that, their stuff was all reverbed out. And I think it was, I might be totally fucking up this story, but who recorded Rain and Blood? Was it fucking...
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
A buddy, big beard, Rick Rubin.
Oh,
Rick Rubin.
Really? Oh, yeah.
I think.
Huh.
Let's just say. But whoever it was, basically, the point of the story is that at some point told them, like, you don't need this much reverb on all your shit. This is what you guys actually kind of sound like when you take all that off. But thinking of that record, it makes me think of the drummer, Lombardo, and how good he was, because I'm pretty sure sound replacing wasn't used on that record, and he crushes it, you know what I mean? Everything's like so solid on the drums, and it's like you said, those bands, it's a different type of metal band today than it was back then, because if you were going to do that shit, like the Slayer shit and kind of pushing the edge, you had to be a beast that, you know, wasn't tapping your stuff.
Well, I think that's what you're saying right there is, and this at the end of the day is all that matters in recording, is how good is the performance.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting there going, oh, well, just replace all my drums. Oh, okay. Well, that means that you just sucked and you want to make it sound better now. You know, it's like if I played shitty bass, you can replace all the bass too. Mm-hmm. You know, you can sit there with the keyboard and replace it all. But we don't do that, because I try to hit it as hard as possible and go, like, if I had all the stuff that they had in a fucking Hollywood studio, and trust me, if I had it, I would know how to use it. Mm-hmm. I would never need to replace anything. But that's why replacement has become so prevalent, is because I can maybe not have the best mics in the world and not have the best preamps in the world, and from my home studio put out something crazy. Mm-hmm. Like I've even heard some stuff, like demos, that with the drummer wasn't even there. This guy programmed this drummer.
Oh man!
And you're like, what? Like,
yeah.
how do those cymbals sound so good? Usually cymbals are shit, right?
Yeah.
But there's, you know, like Drum Kit from Hell and all that. Like the sound, it's just the technology and the aggressiveness of the metal bands has really, you know, come up in the last 20 years. But I think that, to kind of get to your point with like the cheating and stuff, that's cheating if you're not playing to the ultimate, like hitting so hard like you would never fucking hit at any other time.
It's it's just live setting, man. That's what I think of. Like I might dig a record, and then if I see them and it's you know, you see that, oh, you guys clearly cheated the fuck out of that record. It's kind of just like I don't know. I've never been a fan of liars or people being fake. And it's kind of shitty to say that, because, like, I'm pretty sure at least one of my projects has done some sort of sound replacing or something. Right. So I can't say that my hands are clean. But, like, in a live setting, man, it's just, I don't know. That's when you... There's aspects of recording music and then the live performance. And the live performance there's a part of it that's so old, you know what I mean? Like before people were recording music, people were still, before people, were recording music, people were performing music. And there's like a connection to that just old art of performing, and even like goes hand in hand with just music itself, that I feel is like really important to not lose that. And when I see a band that sucks live and sounds great on the record, it bums me out a bit. It's just kind of like, fuck.
I agree with you. Like, that aspect of recording, like when Elvis recorded in front of one mic with his whole band.
Jesus.
And the whole band had to hit everything. Backups and everything. And if you were standing too close to the mic, you were fucked. And that just cost $5,000 in tape.
That's so like, crazy, eh?
That kind of pressure isn't there. Like the tape thing not being there, not just the sound of it, but the expense of it. Like that used to be half the recording budget was tape.
Yeah.
Because guys never wanted to tape over it again and stuff like that. They wanted all these, you know, you end up with a U-Haul full of tapes at the end of it doing a record. So the tape became so expensive that it's like, hey, listen, buddy, you can't sit here and do 100 takes.
Yeah.
Like you nail this solo, you got twice, and that's it. You better nail it. You better be practiced. So everybody had to go into the studio so ridiculously tight that they were just like, you don't worry about me, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just talking with my drummer last night, or this afternoon actually, and I was saying that the next time we go in the studio, that's exactly what I want to do. Is I want to go on like a 2-week tour where we're tight as fuck. We come off pissed off and tired, and then we walk right into the studio and nail this shit.
Absolutely, man. Oh yeah, for sure.
Because there's no tighter of a time my band has ever been than at the last show on our tour, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, it's a good way to do it, man. It's sort of similar with the Sabs. The last record, we had a grant to record it, so we had a budget, literal budget that we had to stay within.
Wow.
And that just meant that we had to crush the studio in 3 days, but it was just like, hey, everybody practice your asses off. And yeah, it worked out. I became, when I stepped away from that, I became a better player. And the whole experience itself was, it's for the Dog Years record, and I feel really proud of the performances on that. That's what recording is. Yeah, you want to capture the best performance of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And with the bands I deal with, I mean, usually this is how it rolls. They went and recorded at some studio for way too much money, and then what came out pissed them off, and they come to me mad, and then so they're not and I don't think you or I are either necessarily recording artists. We can't sit in a studio for 3 months and feel that we're not Celine Dion with $1 million budget or something. So
or Guns N' Roses,
yeah. So you got the Chinese. Oh my god,
dude! Just as a side note, if you ever listen to this podcast called "I'd Hit That," there's an episode with Brain, and he goes into detail about how it was recording with Guns N' Roses. It's a fucking great episode of a podcast. It's the only one I've heard of that podcast, but anyone listening, yeah, dude, it's so good. You as a recording engineer would probably fucking love it.
Yeah, that'd be funny. But so lots of these bands are not experienced, and for example, when I went in with Statue, what I try to do every time is I do pre-production with them. So that means we decide whether we're going to use clicks or not. My theory with clicks is that the click should bend to you and not the other way around. You shouldn't just put 120 BPM, okay, play your song to this.
Exactly, yeah.
We sit there and we map it out painstakingly for months before so that we're confident that, the click is to the music and not the other way around. And then we'll demo it in their basement just so we can hear it down on something. And to kind of go through the process, do it like we would do it in the studio, but do it in their basement,
Yeah, I never understood pre-prod until I started doing it, and it's just such a useful tool. I'm sure most people do it, but if you're not doing it, you should fucking do it, man.
Oh, man, you got to demo it to yourself, and please, people, do not put out your demos. Just demo it and release it to the band. And then, even if they're really good, just don't. I mean, maybe if you want to brag to your engineer buddy, show him. But, So then we go into the studio, and even being that prepared, at the end of it, they were like, "Fuck, man, we learned so much. I can't believe that shit. You told us over and over, and until you experience it and do it, you don't understand until it gets fucked up." Even though you gave us the foresight, we still didn't understand it until it happened, So
yeah, it's an art, man. Recording itself, just as performing, is learning how to record an album efficiently and to get the most out of it, because it's so hard to capture. You want to capture the best of yourselves on something that'll be there forever, because once it's done, it's done. You're not going to re-release the same album. Yeah. Fuck. It's so hard to bottle that magic. Absolutely. And then life happens too.
When we did the Kayaktis and Stab Twist Pull records, we took the studio. I have to sublet this studio. So in trying to get a better, because we share drummers, Stab Twist Pull and Kayaktis.
Okay.
So in trying to save money for both bands, I was like, let's get the studio for 2 weeks. You guys are doing a full-length hardcore album, which is half an hour long, and we're doing a 6-song EP, which is 27 minutes long.
Okay.
let's just, we'll do all the drums for both records at once. We'll go back and forth on bass, and we'll like combine all our gear and for different tones and whatnot. And, so it became kind of a scheduling thing. And then we're sitting down to do, I'm at the studio to unlock and getting started to do Doug's from Kayoctus's guitar tracks. And he calls me up. He's supposed to be there in like half an hour. And he goes, so I was just making some spaghetti, and the boiling water hit my index finger on my left hand, and I have a blister underneath the skin on my top knuckle on my left hand. I'm like, you're kidding, right? You have to come here and show me that. I don't believe you. And sure enough, there it was, about an inch long, right where your main finger touches the strings. Ugh. So we had to move a bunch of stuff around. And we actually only ended up getting one guitar track, and we still have to put another guitar track on that damn album. But and but it's just to find the time with us is just nuts, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a re-release of the Kayoctus record, Passage.
It's hard to, like you said, life gets in the way. It's as you get older too, with
guys
kids
get
and
sick.
Yeah, guys get sick. Guys boil their fingers off and shit.
And another one, the sound scraper buddy at work. He's a tin guy. Why is there so many fucking tin guys that are bass players?
They're so fucking metal, dude. They got to work around metal.
He cuts like almost all the way down to the bone on his right hand.
Jesus, dude.
And that one was like, well, they're not that complicated. You better be able to nail these. And he did, actually. We had to fix one part later, and that was it.
That's not bad. Fuck.
Yeah.
I want to pick your brain about, I just saw you guys are going to California. You guys are part of a fest?
Yeah. My friend, Dr. Sarah Sutler-Cohen, she's a professor of Native American Studies at Berkeley.
Okay, cool.
And I met her. She came up to, I think, Noctis 5 and 6. And she actually was a speaker at the conference at Noctis.
Just talking about like Native studies, or about
that and like women in metal. There was a women in metal conference.
Okay.
And she has a friend, Laura Dawes, who put out a book on women in metal. And they do a lot of speaking. I think they're going to like Iceland soon for a festival or something like that, or Denmark. And so that's how we met her, and I think she just got kind of inspired by what Therese was doing, and then she wasn't able to come to Metal Fest this year, but she came last year, and she was super pumped to see, because Noctis was at a bigger venue, there was more people, there was just more going on, and it was a very, very serious, quote-unquote, festival. The bands were serious, everything was serious, and my festival is kind of more like, it's at a 400-person pub downtown. It's just more of a party, you know what I mean? Like
more of a birthday party.
Yeah, I mean, even when I try to take it really serious, it's still like just really fun. This year we did it at 2 venues, and they were right across the parking lot from each other, so that was kind of a neat dynamic. But so I think Sarah got inspired by both sides of this. So it's Legion of Steel Metal Fest and Conference, and she's kind of taking more of that Noctis angle with it, and she's going to have a bunch of speakers, and I think she said like the vegan black metal chef is there on the Thursday, and just look it up on Facebook there, Legion of Steel Metal Festival and Conference. But yeah, so I just said to her one night, "Oh, you're doing a festival? Yeah, I bet Kayoctus is playing, right?" And then she was like, "Oh, really? Yeah, I'd love to have you." Like, she's a huge fan. So,
wow. So they're gonna fly you down there, and
we're flying ourselves.
Are you guys gonna tour down there?
We're just going down there for the exposure. Yeah, we're just doing the one show. We didn't want to do a tour because we're trying not to get visas. I got to still figure out if that's possible.
If you were going to get a visa for that one show, it'd be so crazy. Jesus, it'd be too expensive.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping I can get a B1, which is different, but we'll have to see. So
And it's at Berkeley?
It's at Berkeley. Yeah, or it's at Gilman, 924 Gilman. It's a really famous.
Yeah, it's like an all ages venue or something.
Yeah. It's been there forever. Sarah was saying that when she was like 17, she went to like the first show there.
Fuck, probably saw like fucking Black Flag or some shit.
Yeah, right. It's like Agnostic Front and like.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did mention seeing some pretty crazy acts. I can't recall who they are right now, but.
Are you grabbing chips? What's that noise?
Yeah, can we pause for just a sec?
Yeah, we'll pause it right now here.
All right, thanks.
Cool. So it's it's at that venue. It's like a legendary venue, and you guys are gonna go and
Gilman,
represent.
and the Fang, the band Fang is playing.
Cool.
I'd kind of have to look up who else is on it, but they're like kind of legendary. It looks like, from what I can see, is like some pretty legendary local area, Bay Area punk and thrash bands.
Cool. Fuck. And that's in the fall, I think?
Yeah, October 22nd through 24th.
Wow.
And I believe we're playing on the 24th. Yeah, we got a room like right up the street, and we're super excited to go, man. It'll be our first international show.
Cool. So it's at that venue.
We're pumped.
It's like a legendary
Kayakis
venue.
wants to go.
You guys are gonna go and represent.
Anyways, I do. It's one of my like goals in life, and
cool.
That leads me to a question to you. You've toured Europe, right?
I did it a couple years ago, 2013.
How was it?
It was good. There's like a misconception I think that people have of, and I've heard it so many times, it's annoying that like, oh, people love metal in Europe, right? And your shows must have been crazy, but just kind of like, it was really just another tour playing to the same type of people, you know? It's just, there's not like hordes of European metalheads that will just go to any show, you know what I mean? It's the same as here. Like, if nobody knows who you are, no one's going to go to your show if you're the best metal band or whatever, you know? It's the same sort of game. It's like, build an audience there, have a label there or something, this and that. Like, it was fun as fuck because, A, we didn't have to drive, so we could get smashed every night. B,
what? You had a driver?
Yeah, you don't have to do that, but we hired a driver. Basically, because when it comes to gear, we're not going to bring all our gear over there, right? So there's companies like, DIY groups and this and that have vans and gear that you can rent. So we paid a fee every day for the van and the gear.
Wow.
Like our back line, basically, and then paid the driver, which you don't have to pay that. You could drive yourself, but for me, it's like, hey, I don't want to be responsible if there's anything that happens to the van that we're renting, so we just paid a driver. Now
well, who the fuck wants to drive in Europe?
No, I don't. Hard Charger, I think they fucking did it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fucking that would be fucks. Annoying. I've done it. It's super annoying.
Oh, it would be completely. And so we didn't have to drive, and you get fed every show. Like, even if there was one show we did in Budapest where we got just like potato salad. Or there were other nights where we had like fucking pheasant and fucking potato leek spiced soup, and yeah, you get free beer pretty much across the board, and you're in Europe. You're seeing some cool shit. There's like, I've toured enough that the sights of Canada and the States, and I've seen it for the most part, so it's cool to see new shit. And we lost money, but fuck, man, it was cool, dude. Like, if you guys go to Europe, like, you'll get taken care of, and hopefully you book good shows and make your money back. But it's an experience, man. They definitely take care of you. Every show you get paid, or not paid. Every show you get fed, you get food, and you get a place to sleep. It's just without question. That's just exactly how they do it. And it's weird because nobody fucking really does that over here, where here's your food, you're gonna stay here, and you get free beer all night. They're just so ahead when it comes to that type of shit.
Oh, hospitality? Completely,
dude. Yeah. It's hilarious when I think of here, especially in the States, where we have a note like, we need a place to sleep. Over Europe, it's kind of done. It's just like you have a show, it goes without saying that we have a place for you. It can be a nice hotel, it can be a nice hostel, it can be the bar. It wasn't always the greatest place to sleep, but generally it was a good place, man. And yeah, Europe, it was a lot of fun. You guys should definitely go, man. Just as far as to experience it, man.
Oh, fuck no. I mean, like, I have to. It's one of those things that it's like ingrained in my, I don't know. Ever since I started this shit in my first band when I was 15, it's what I've wanted to do. So
yeah, it's just like booking here. You just find people to help you. Like I booked the tour. We didn't have a booking agent.
That was going to be my next question. So you had to book all the shows.
Yeah, I did it. So it wasn't
Where the fuck
greatest.
is Budapest again?
It's in Hungary.
Oh, right. Okay.
In like Eastern Europe. No, I think it's close though.
Right. So, fuck. Like, how did you get across the, like, language barrier? Like, Google Translate?
No, sometimes, but for the most part, man, it's kind of amazing how many people speak English. Like, really. Like, even if it's broken English, I was getting replies back in English. Yeah. I didn't really do too much Google translating. It's very similar to when I first started booking and trying to get shows in Quebec, where I thought that I have to write in French. But, yeah, a lot of... At least like DIY promoters and stuff like that, they're used to getting emails from, people from the West or whatever that are looking to tour. So yeah, for the most part, man, everybody spoke English. If not, you just fucking, at least at the shows, like most promoters, I think all of them spoke English, but I love that, words like Motorhead and Metallica and heavy metal and that type of shit is kind of universal, right? You can be in Japan and be like, Motorhead, yeah, and then you're like buds with dudes, But yeah, it was a lot of work, but yeah, it's not impossible. That's the thing. It's just find a back line, book your flights, and book some shows. They might not be the best, but fuck it, whatever, man. Again, you'll be dead one day, and you'll be like, fuck, I should have just went to Europe. Because I'm dead now. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
I could have sat at home and taken my 2 weeks vacation every year that was given to me by the mail department.
Barf.
So, same kind of guarantees and all that then? It sounds like if you lost money.
You push to cover at least what you're paying per day, because that's the scariest thing. Like, every day we have to pay this much, and on top of that, there's gas. But it's not impossible. It's just kind of like, hey, it almost gives me more confidence when I'm asking for money, because it's like, fuck, I'm flying there. You know what I mean? I'm not. We're not a local band. We're from Canada, so don't be surprised when I ask for this much money.
Yeah. Don't be. Yeah, exactly. And did you have to get visas to go over there?
No, man. It was hilarious when we landed. Just we did Montreal to Frankfurt, and then Frankfurt to Italy. And in Frankfurt, we hit customs, and all four of us went up, and the guy started speaking Spanish to me because he saw that I was born in Costa Rica, and then started speaking French to the other guys, and then waved us through, and then we landed in Italy, and we were expecting customs again, but it was just kind of like we landed, and then the door opened like, okay, go to Italy, go, it was it. For the UK, I think you need work visas, but for mainland Europe, man, no, you don't need work visas, which is fucking awesome, yeah.
See, what's wrong with that? I mean, fuck, you guys went there and lost money. Like, that would happen if you went and did a US tour.
Oh, completely. It's so fucked, man. It's so fucked. That's a whole other 4 hours of me bitching about
what I found
lines
out
and fees
is that
and
fucking shit. Americans don't need visas to come here anymore.
No, it's different. There's like a waiver, and depending on venues and shit like that. Yeah, we spend out the ass to go to lose money down in the States, and then.
But dude, I heard even because you know how they changed all the rules.
For in Canada?
Yeah, where they jacked up everything for the Americans that came in. It used to be like whatever it was, $700 for the visa
member or something. Yeah,
and then now they started charging per guy and all that.
Yeah, I heard that it's done.
No, when they repealed that, now they repealed everything. That's what my boss at Dickens was telling me. That all you have to have is a contract saying they're playing this show, even if it's not an exempt venue. Because that was the problem with Dickens all the time, was that it's a pub that's open during the day, blah, 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 so it's not exempt.
What's that? Is that guy's name Isaac or Josh?
No. Isaac used to be the booker there like a long time ago.
There was a clusterfuck with that where we got booked, we had X amount of guarantee, and Grimskunk got booked, and they had another band touring with them. Maybe you did sound that night, but
I'm pretty sure I did sound at that Grimskunk show, yeah.
I can't remember who I was talking to, but they were just like, yeah, Isaac doesn't work here anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah, he right when I first started there in 2011 was like right at the end of of his reign there.
His legacy, yeah. Whatever. Dude, I love Dickens, man.
And after that, he disappeared from the world. It's weird. Like,
deleted
he
himself
fell right off the edge of the earth.
Dickens is a great fucking venue, man. It's like, I don't know, everyone's super nice there, and you get fed, and shows are always good.
Yeah,
I'm just lucky I have good friends there.
I wish the stage was like 4 feet deeper, but a sound guy can wish, right?
Dude, at every point of my podcast, at about this point, I do... so, Mark, do you know Mark Hibbs from Fuck the Facts? Tall, skinny guy?
I don't know him, but I know.
But, okay, so Mark... people listening probably are familiar with it, but Mark did this zine. It's a Hibbs zine where he got people's... recommendations on albums, and it all came from him being drunk one night with his buddy who was also drunk, and his buddy said, "Hey, have you heard of this album?" Mark said no, and then the guy said a little rant about, "Oh, you should check it out because of this." So I get people, my guests to recommend an album, and I'll insert it after the fact. But like, what's something cool, some band that you think is cool that people maybe not haven't heard, or that you're feeling that you could recommend that we could play?
Only one I can say, right?
Yeah, just one song. Yeah.
Okay, cool. You want a song too?
Yeah, or an album. I mean, I can do this shit after. Just any band. Let's say a band that you've been feeling.
Well, in honor of my friend Luke Hart coming through town, I've been listening to a lot of this again, and I'm pretty sure this is kind of new.
It doesn't even have to be new. It doesn't matter.
The Planet Eater album. Fuck, it's so killer. Planet Eater is Luke and Donnie, who used to be in Agonal, and then Troy from Into Eternity.
Okay, cool.
And I think their drummer's name is Chris. Fuck, I'm an asshole.
Oh, man.
Sorry about that. But they fucking destroy and rule, and basically pick any damn song off anything.
Cool.
Planet Eater SK is their... because there's another Planet Eater that's been done since like 2012, but
yeah, fucking sweet, dude. Yeah, I'll it's like metal, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll put that in right here. And that was Planet Eater, the magic of editing. I think actually I listened to the one with you and Grandma, and I think you did the same thing where you played some Sparky and added it after the fact. Isn't that fucking Sparky album Bananas good?
Oh, dude, there's a song on there. They call it RMW now because they can't call it what they originally called it, which was Robin Williams.
Oh, yes.
But it's like this weird little 1 minute jam they do on their record, and Humanimation is what it's called. And it's hilarious. Like, they had their keyboard player friend there at their studio one day, and Nancy and I were looking for an intro song for Gettin' Hard. And fuck, we were just listening to that album because it's awesome.
So good.
And then that came up, and I was like, fuck, this is perfect. Like, we were sitting there, like YouTubing Get Hard and Getting Hard and all this stuff. Dumb shit was coming up, and then that just happened, and now it's perfect. Like, it's like a minute long. I do a little intro explaining what the podcast will be, and then it's just the perfect little way to start the podcast. And they were totally into it, too. It was awesome. Yeah.
Fucking rights, man.
Those guys played Metal Fest this year.
Oh, I would kind of wish I lived in Calgary for that and had the time and the money.
Well, it's cool because I haven't told them yet, but I recorded everything in audio and video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we were able to do the main stage this year. My buddy Slim and I are kind of going into, we're jokingly calling it Slim Nate Productions. He has basically like 5 or 6 of those Zoom Q3 video things.
Okay, yeah.
HD video cameras, and he just puts them up all around the venue, and then he has like an action one, and he edits it all together, and he's been putting these videos up with just the shitty camera audio forever. So I was like, fuck, why don't you let me record the audio, and let's try and put together a DVD, like a best of Metal Fest or something like that. And he was totally down, so we got to get permission from everybody, but we recorded everything, and look for letters in your inbox there, folks, if you play the main stage at Metal Fest this year.
Sick, man. Well, dude, Nate, I'll fucking close this off. I usually run these about an hour. Shout out all your stuff, man. People listening. So what's the podcast, and how do people find it?
Getting Hard in Nate's Backyard. It's on, you can go to BigNateProductions.com and stream it from there. Or you can just search Getting Hard in Nate's Backyard and you'll find it. Or Big Nate Productions on iTunes It is officially on iTunes now. To answer that question too, I don't think I finished off earlier there. I'm bad for that. I think it was just a programming glitch we had going on. It was a folder, was in a folder, and that's why iTunes wasn't accepting it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it was some backroom BS that me and the web guy weren't hip to. Mm-hmm. So in all that me worrying about the name and stuff, it was like just some dorky internet code that wasn't right.
Yeah, some fucking comma in the wrong spot.
Yeah, exactly. So once we did resubmitted, we were all in. But yeah, so you can go, like I say, iTunes, but Getting Hard in Nate's Backyard. You can check out all the events and shows I have coming up at Big Nate Productions as well.
Yeah, damn straight. People hit up Nate in Calgary if you want a good show.
Yeah, and if you want to record, you can send me an inquiry there too. And
Calgary, you have an
Instagram? I'm pretty sure I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter for the podcast is at Nate's Backyard.
Okay, cool.
And then at Nate Reno. At Big Nate Prod. Yeah, BigNateProductions.com has all those links. So
okay, I'll just link that on my page. That's
that kind of is the big link soup there. And CalgaryMetalFest.com. And I should also say we kind of did this thing. It's an informal alliance. The Western Canadian Metal Festival Alliance, WCFMA. And there's really no point to it, but except I will mention that you should go to Armstrong Metal Fest in Armstrong, BC, July 17th through 19th. And then Loud as Hell Metal Fest in Drumheller.
Damn, you guys are fucking killing it.
Yeah, they all copied me. No, it's joking. Armstrong was happening before mine, but
oh, cool. Is that like a website, like WCFMA.com, or just that's a thing?
If you look it up on Facebook, there's a thing for that, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And
I love it, man. I love that out west that you guys are all sticking together, man. It's a big country, and you almost have to do that, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the best we'll see out of that alliance, we almost did it this year, was get like a full page in Revolver or something like that, you know?
Wow.
But it was kind of like we could have done it, but it was cost benefit analysis, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Is it worth it to be advertising to all these people that are not local at all, you know?
Yeah. Someone in like New Zealand will get it. Like, fuck, I don't even know where Armstrong is.
Yeah. Where is Canada? The Igloo place. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, I lived in America, and that's what they think about Canada. They're like, oh yeah, a place with the igloos and the
and then that's when you say like, yep, exactly. My neighbor's a bear. But yeah, dude, I'll close this off here. You guys follow me, Art Vargas, AARDVA, whatever. I don't care. You guys know what it is. TakerWide.com. Go to Facebook.com/TakerWide and like it. Trying to get those likes up. And every Monday, these will be up. I have to say thanks to Nate. Nate, just stay on the line, man, so I can like do a proper goodbye.
Cool.
But yeah, every Monday, guys, tune in. Sponsors again, Dave Levitt, photography.ca, righthookmics.com, and raddude.ca. And that's it. We'll be back next week. You guys be safe.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Get the fuck off of the bus! Fuck off fuck off